getting you a video update sooner. Normally I would have gotten you like 1 or 2 by now. I also want to apologize for doing this video update in here. We have a beautiful training building where it's quiet and free of distractions and free of other dogs. Used for training and doing videos, so that way we don't have dogs barking in the background. Do you mind? Thank you. Thankfully, it's the weekend, so hopefully, well, I mean, we only have one other dog in here, so it should be fairly quiet. So hopefully you should hear me okay. But I owe you a video, and I want to get this out to you sooner than later. So I just want to do a brief overview of how things are going. Loba, like, she's really, you know, once she kind of warms up, she's a really fun dog to work with. She's got a lot of energy. She's got a lot of spunk. Like, she wants to receive affection once she, like, gets to know you. The challenge in the early day or two was getting her out of the kennel. So getting her out of the kennel the first couple days, definitely each time took about 5 minutes or so between myself and my other trainer, Benny. So each time we got her out, we had to kind of wait for her, coax her out a little bit. We both use a little bit of different methods. You know, we're both very experienced trainers, so we kind of, you know, use a little trial and error to see what works to get her out most comfortably. Like, we don't want to force her out. We want her to feel comfortable coming out. We also don't want her to feel like she can get away with just staying in there. So we wanted to kind of see what works. Now she knows both of us, and so she's coming out much more readily now, which is great. But in the first few days, because that was a challenge, we did not enforce kennel manners because the challenge is getting her to come out. Kennel manners are used when the dogs are rushing out of the kennel, right? So kennel manners are when we ask the dog to wait before rushing out. So now that she's coming out of the kennel more willingly, now we're starting to enforce those kennel manners, meaning we're asking her to wait before we release her out of the kennel to start each session, which she's also doing that very well. She's coming out when we ask her, when we give her a free release command, and then she comes out and she's doing great. We did just start place today, so I'm not really expecting her to stay on here. It's just a little bit of a way to kind of keep her contained a little bit because she's a little bit all over the place, but the place is a really great tool just for them to kind of relax a little bit. So anyways, if she's kind of stepping off and on, I haven't really asked her to place, so she's not really going to get in trouble. So don't judge that too harshly. We just started the place today, but she's doing great. Anyway, I'm going to try not to get sidetracked. Again, I apologize for the dog barking. So once she comes out of the kennel, you know, we get the leash on her, make her sit at the run door before we come out. So we're teaching her the door manners there. We usually go out through this big bay door here. So we have her sit at the door here before we go out into the yard. And then from there we get to go potty. I like to let them go potty on a flexi lead, especially for a dog like her. She really likes to kind of like run a little bit and stretch her legs before she goes pee. But she does a very good job. She goes pee, she poops very regularly, so no accidents or anything like that. Peeing and pooping is not a problem at all. She does a great job. Once she goes potty, and you know, I'm confident that she is finished, so sometimes she does one, sometimes she does both. Hey, man. Thank you. Then we switch to a short leash and go into our training session. The big focus when we start the training program is working on building a little bit of relationship, building her wanting to work with us, meaning, hey, I'm a great person, you should like me, I have all these treats in my pocket, and if you pay attention to me and look at me, you're going to get these treats from me, right? Now, in the first day or two, the big thing that we're working on is building her understanding that we have good things for her. And then also, when you hear our marker, which we're using a clicker, you get those good things. In the first couple days, she did not really want to eat. She was very nervous. She definitely didn't want her kibble. We did use some higher value treats, and she did take those occasionally, but the issue we have is that if we're going to use our marker, we have to guarantee that she's going to take food. So when they're not taking food, it does delay progress the first couple days. So it's a little slow beginnings, but then by the third day, by that Wednesday, everything kind of started to click and started to fall into place, and it was starting to flow very nicely. Now, mind you, this week we did, like I said, we have renovations going on in my nice, beautiful training building, which is why I'm not in there. They're redoing the floors. They're doing epoxy, which means I can't even walk on the floors right now because they're drying and they're like sticky or tacky. And I can't even get any of my stuff off my shelves in there. I can't go in there. I can't get my tripod. I can't go in there at all. So it's rainy, it's nasty outside. So this is what I got. Anyways, so the healing is going very, very nicely now. The first day was a little rough. Once she did start taking the kibble, she would like take it in her mouth and then drop it. Which I'm like, fine, you know, take the kibble, drop it, but eventually you're going to be hungry enough that you're going to want to eat that kibble. So she's becoming more reliable about taking the kibble and actually eating it. When we introduced the place bed today, the place bed had been outside, so it got kind of wet. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but when I started putting the kibble onto the place bed, she really didn't want to eat it off the bed at first. Maybe it's because for the past week or so, we have not been doing that, letting her eat off the ground or anything. And then all of a sudden we're asking her to do that. Or maybe she's just like, oh, it's wet, it's gross, I don't really want to do that. But now she's doing it. I think everything just takes a little bit of a couple repetitions for her to figure out that it's okay. Even stuff that is more generally kind of intuitive for most dogs. Like, if I put food on the bed and say, okay, you can eat this, most dogs are like, okay. She's like, I don't know, maybe, she kind of has to think about it a little bit more, which is fine. Now, as we know with her, she's a very fearful dog, and she's been this way for a very long time. The other thing is she's also a very, very high energy dog, and these two things combined creates a very, very short attention span and a very, very easily distractible dog. So what this means is that she is very, very interested in everything that's going on around her. So when we're training outside, like last week, we didn't have an indoor space to use. So every single leaf that blows, every car that goes by, every, smell, every twig, every crack of a twig or whatever, she is disengaged from the activity, which is why I do generally like to use our training building to get dogs started. But, hey, work with what we got. Now, does she figure it out? Yeah, absolutely she did. Like, we got there. But it's going to be a challenge that is going to, it's going to be something we're going to struggle with throughout the program. This level of distraction for her is going to be like her biggest difficulty in her training. And that's very common. It's what we see in fearful dogs is that, hey, I'm fearful because things in the world scare me and I need to pay attention because those scary things are out there and I need to keep an eye out for them. The other thing is, with her being as high energy as she is, she wants to do, and she always wants to go to the next step. So she's going to have a very short attention span for duration in behavior. Now, we know we're going to work specifically on doing duration in behavior, things like place stays and sit stays and down stays. So that's not going to be a problem. That's nothing new. We work with a lot of high energy dogs, impulsive dogs. That's nothing new, but it's the combination of that high impulsivity with the high level of fear that creates a little bit more of an exponentially higher level of difficulty. But I mean, it's nothing we haven't worked with before. So anyways, so what we have been teaching her are, first off, her markers. So the first marker we teach her is a clicker. I really like using the clicker because, especially like when I'm doing these videos, I'm yapping away, she hears my voice, and if I'm using a verbal marker in the midst of blah, 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 sometimes it can get lost in the mix. But if she's here, she's on the place bed, and she's doing all the right things, and all of a sudden she hears, she knows exactly what that sound means, and it's a novel sound that she's never heard anywhere else, and it means only one thing, and that's that she's getting food. So every time she hears this, it means she's getting food. So in the place behavior, or on the place bed, I like to put the food onto the bed itself. The reason is, when we're healing, the food is going to be at my left hip. When she's on the place bed, the food will be on the bed. So we want her to start to think about commands like heel and place and down and kennel as hints as to where the food is going to be. So if I tell her place, I want her to think that the food is going to be on the bed. Okay? When I say heel, I want her to think the food is going to be at my left hip. When I tell her down, I want her to think the food is going to be down below her face. When I tell her kennel, I want her to think the food is going to be inside the kennel, and all those things. So when I tell her place, I want her to think the food is going to be on the place bed. Now, I don't normally train seated like this, but I've been training all weekend, and I am very sore. I've been having hip issues, so she's still getting the information she needs. Now, what I like to do when I train place is I like to treat the place bed like the crate. So if you think about the crate as a rectangle, the rectangle has 3 walls and 1 door. So this side right here, this is the door. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to release her off the bed, and she's going to come out through the door, and then we're going to go back on through the door. Free. Okay, we're going to go back on. Place. Okay. So she only goes in and out through the door, and when she's on that bed, I click, and I put the food just inside the door as if, hey, I can't reach through the wall of a crate, can I? So I can reach down, and if I'm going to put it inside the crate, I'd have to reach in and put it just inside the door here, right? So this way, the picture will look very similar when we do crate training. It looks exactly the same. So I'm going to tell her her release. Her release marker is going to be the word free. Free means she's allowed to stop doing the behavior. Free. We can use that with all of our behaviors. Place. So whenever I say the word free, it just means she can stop doing whatever behavior I'd asked her to do. So if I asked her to sit and I tell her free, she can stop doing her sit. If I asked her to down and I tell her to free, she can stop doing her down. When I tell her free, she can come off the place bed. Now when I do that and I want her to come forward, I'm going to step forward with my left foot first. So when I do my left foot first, it means go forward with me. Place. All right. Because eventually, we're going to ask her to stay here, and when we do that, we're going to walk away, and she's going to be expected to remain here, and when we do that, we're going to walk away with our right foot first. So if we can have these little consistencies in the picture that we show her, it's going to help her be more successful in these early stages. Does it mean you have to do it exactly right for the rest of your life? No. But in these early stages, the more consistently we can show her these pictures, the faster she's going to learn it in the beginning. Once she learns it, when she understands, hey, I've said place, you have to stay here until either I release you or I tell you to do something else, then we can be a little bit more lax with what we do with our body and our hands and our feet. But if we can be very consistent about how we move our body, how we use our hands, how we use our voice, in this very early stage, she's going to pick it up much faster and with a lot more concrete understanding of exactly what's expected of her. And that's what we do here. We try to do it with a lot of precision, with a lot of consistency, so that way you don't have to try to be as perfect. We do want you to try to be perfect, but nobody's perfect. Just do your best, okay? All right. So, I just wanted to give you guys a little short update and a little short training video. Normally I would do more training video, but I want to kind of give you an update about what's going on. Oh, another little update. I don't want to do much more about the training stuff. I'm going to do a full training session with her today anyways. But in the kennel, when I put her away after a training session, she does tend to bark a bit. And for some dogs, when they bark and lift their head, and I think she's rubbing her nose because she's getting a little bit of a red spot on the top of her nose. I'll send you a picture later. It's not serious. I'm going to put a little ointment on it. And so she's in like a brand new kennel. So some of the kennels get like chewed on, so there's like rough edges, but that kennel I felt the top of it is very smooth. I don't know if it's from that or if she's pushing on the door. But yeah, she's getting a little rub spot. Unfortunately, it happens. But that's it. Everything else, she's wonderful. If you have questions or you want any additional information, let me know. But yeah, she's doing great. I hope you're surviving the snowstorm okay. We didn't get any snow. We just got a bunch of rain, unfortunately. I was, hoping for snow. So, but yeah, she's doing great. I think she's going to do really good. I think once we get a little bit further along with the obedience, it's going to really help her break through a lot of that fear. I think it's going to really help her navigate fearful situations with a lot more confidence. We've already started testing some of the waters with her walking past some of our dogs. I have my dogs out in my yard and having her walk past the fence and holding her accountable to that heel position when she would prefer to maybe bark at them. And once she realized she had to remain in that heel position, she's like, oh, okay, this is a lot easier than freaking out, I guess. And then she was fine. And then she was able to maintain that heel position, and she just kept working, and she was wonderful. Okay, sorry it's a little bit of an annoying video. I hope you were able to hear most of it. If you have questions, text me, call me. Yeah, sweet baby, please don't jump on me. She's thinking about it. But she's not doing it. That's good.